Good morning, stock traders, and welcome back to Stock Traders Talk Radio. I'm your host, Stock Sumo, and thanks for joining us on this September 11th, 2012. And before we get started, I'd just like to take a few moments of silence to remember this date. It was 11 years ago today that our nation was impacted largely, and I don't think anybody was not impacted by this day 11 years ago. Okay, joining us on this morning's program is Sifikia. Good morning, Sifi.
Aloha, Sumo. Good to be here. Super stoked. Been looking forward to this for since the last time we had Mr. Weber on the show, so couldn't be more stoked to be here, and don't normally come on the show, but had to come on and say aloha to the gang. Chat room's loaded up. Good morning, everybody, and I'll give it back to you.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm sure those of you tuning in know why you're here. And we have a special CEO interview lined up for today, and doing today's interview is Haas. Haas, take it away.
Well, good morning, Stock Sumo, and thank you, my man. We have a special treat for our radio listeners once again this morning. We did an interview with Mr. Brian Weber of Bebida Beverage Company back in late June. And we all know what happened to the stock after that time. This company's been blowing itself out of the water. We were just talking before the show about how Bebida Beverage Company on one of the main E-Trade boards was 7th on the list between Microsoft and some other big name companies. So that's almost unheard of in the over-the-counter markets. So a really, really, really hot company right now. Really, really, really hot stock right now. And we'll be talking along both of those avenues. So without further ado, I want to once again introduce Mr. Brian Weber of Bebida Beverage Company, stock ticker BBDA. Welcome back, Mr. Weber.
Hey, thank you, guys, and good morning, and thank you again for having me.
Oh, it's fantastic to get you back on the show. I know you've been a really busy guy as of late, not only traveling within the U.S. and expanding the brand name here, but also overseas. Why don't you just give us a little brief update on what you've been up to since we last talked to you?
Wow, you're exactly right, and I joke around the office a little bit. I wish that I was triplets these days because I could handle having a few me's out there working, so that one of me could get a little break and sleep. It's been amazing since our last timing and perfect storm of this. The end of capitalization with the stock combined with our launch in Walmart stores in South Carolina with our brand Coma Unwind, that it just all kind of culminated at the same time, and it literally hasn't let off since. It's we've made the curve, we've made a break in the curve to a straight up trajectory. We were kind of progressively growing, but now we're growing exponentially. The Walmart thing was amazing. As many people know, that we launched in all 78 Walmarts in South Carolina. We're 5 weeks into that now. We're resetting this week, changing around the layouts in the stores, but we're staying in the stores. They've had equal to or better than expectations on our sales. We've progressively grown, and our product does that. It's almost unheard of to have someone that doesn't like it. So it's obviously for a retailer, they love that. There's just so many projects going on. As I said off the air, we got on the phone early at 7:30 this morning, and between that time and the time that this call went live, I landed another distributor and heard about another small chain that's coming on board up in Indiana since yesterday. So it's absolutely amazing how fast and furious these events are coming at us.
Well, it's unreal to think about. You guys were seeking out these distributors before, and at this point, they're just coming to you, I'm sure, on an almost daily basis. trying to put these products in their stores?
Yeah, this it is. Literally, for the first 2 years of coming to the market with relaxation drink, it was equal to having the next best idea. And 90% of the people said, "What's that all about?" And 10% were saying, "Go for it." And now we're at 90% go, "You that a boy," and there's still a little apprehension here and there, but we have definitely swung the pendulum. And it's all there. I mean, it's just absolutely there. We've done a lot of marketing projects, stemming from celebrities to J-Lo and the NASCAR stuff that I play with some of my friends and colleagues in the business. And there's a whole group of new projects that are coming around that we're finishing up for this fall and spring of next year. It is definitely swinging our direction. Next week, I'm off to Europe. It's swinging our direction. The category has become legitimate, and our company has become very legitimate. So it's timing it's all running together.
Okay. Are you able to comment more in detail on some of these projects coming off in the fall that you just mentioned, or not?
Well, I mean, if people could see our trends, some people say, what's your business model? What's your marketing model? And, because our product is multi-demographic, and that's what we pride ourselves. Coma Unwind is taking the lead, over products like Marley's, Mellow Mood, and some of the products on the market that are very niche targeted. The reason we're in Walmart is because Walmart customers, like many other retailers, they market to everybody. They market to everybody from your kids to your moms to every color, race, creed, religion. They're out there, and that's why we're in Walmart. That's why we're first in Walmart, because we do that, and that's what we do with our marketing. We're talking to some celebrities that have started to tweet about us a little bit. There's some stuff that we're working on with a couple of music stars that are coming along. So they're different type of music, just a different balance. And sometimes people say, well, I'm way out of balance, but the reality is we don't do very much to think about. About 90% of everything we do, whether it's a tweet, a Facebook mention, a misspelling, most of it is thought out and has a reason. I try very hard not to do something that's spontaneous anymore. But you're going to see, some new TV stuff. We have 1,000 TV commercials that are in the queue to go in South Carolina, waiting on some guidance from Walmart on timing. They pushed our commercials back a little bit because they had so many commercials on the airwaves with the back to school stuff. Okay. And quite frankly, they're important to us, so we're going to heed their advice and go when they say go. And we're switching gears.
Can you give us a general timeline for those commercials to start rolling out? That was one of the key questions I asked folders, just private message some questions. So.
I can't tell you specifically because I really truly don't know. Again, I've been told that I would, if I were guessing, I would say that the very end of this month into the first couple weeks of October. It's a 3-week program that we've put together, and again, it's about 1,000 commercials. Again, this week, we're resetting all the stores, so I'm pretty sure that they're going to want that to be done. My guess is I'm going to, get the go probably in the next 2 weeks for the end of this month, beginning of October. And again, when you have a partnership with a company like that has 4,000 and plus stores, you know what they're doing, and we're going to take every bit of advice from them and their management up and down the board, and being successful, and do what they advise.
Oh wow, that's great stuff. I want to stay on this Walmart topic for a little bit. We've had several questions related to dry storage and also ready-to-drink cold storage for your product within Walmart stores. Are you just in dry storage right now, or do they have ready-to-drink cold product?
It's a good question. The launch, there was no discussions about putting them on ice or in a cooler. But my understanding is, and this is very recent, that there are some stores that had, that Walmart's funny. There are certain things that come down from the top that are absolution, and then there are some things that there's some flexibility. And that's one of those things that it's a manager by manager deal where they have some flexibility. But I do think that there is going to be a time where there is a cold, ready-to-drink product, and there are some stores that actually offer that now. I'm sure in the future there'll certainly be more of that.
Okay, yeah, and there's a little comment on any liabilities associated with that in any way, shape, or form, I guess. I don't know if you can comment on that.
Personal responsibility is no different for, drinking cough medicine, drinking beer, wine, or any other drink. We have a tremendous amount of product liability insurance, and obviously to meet the requirements of Walmart, it's pretty deep. Obviously we live in a culture where it seems like everybody wants to blame someone else. You drink a product that clearly says it's a relaxation product that helps you unwind and slow down, and yet you want to go out and operate farm equipment. Well, at some point you have to just say, what were you thinking? So, obviously that's the way we think. I don't want to take the right away from somebody that wants to consume my drink, but I certainly would tell people to use some common sense. I mean, the basis of most stupidity is the failure to have common sense.
So just on the same topic here, are some of these dealing with shelf space? Is your product next to, some popular like soda brands and things like that in those aisles on the shelf too? I see a lot of display cases in dry form throughout the Walmart stores.
What's happening right now is, if you could see it on our Como on Facebook, this next step is what they call a side saddle. It's actually the end of the beverage aisle. It's the side piece. It connects onto the side of the end cap. It goes basically floor to the top, and it holds about 12 cases, 6 cases of drinks, and you can see it on our Facebook page. It's on the Como page. The cans are out of the pallets, out of the trays, and displayed. Quite frankly, our product sells too much to put it in a slot. Yeah, I mean, the slots on the new age beverages are perhaps 15, 20 cans, and our product's selling faster than those slots could be refilled. So the side saddle is a natural progression. It holds 12 cases, 6 and 6. And fortunately for us, I'm not even sure how long we'll stay there, but I suspect it's based on my conversations, it'll be several months, in that location. And then I've heard some talk about another pallet drop massive relaunch to go back and perhaps happen next year in February. But we're on board and listening and taking advice from those that in that chain that know what they like, what's successful. So.
Okay. Do you have any near-term plans to expand out of just the South Carolina Walmarts? I'm sure they're talking to their affiliates in other states at this point.
Yes, obviously, as I mentioned off the air, to put this in perspective, there are 4,000 Walmarts in the United States. When we were in Arkansas, we were told a few things that resonated with me. One is if we like it, it could be a best or the worst of the same scenario. One being if we like it a lot, we might want it everywhere, and which could put a tremendous burden on our company. Mm-hmm. And fortunately for us, we do have the capital in reserve that's not a problem to manufacture. But I can tell you that they have a pretty intense methodology for invoicing. Every store is invoiced individually, and it's extremely time consuming. I would probably need to add 5 people in the office just to manage a full implementation on paperwork. With that said, of course that's what we want. Again, circling back in perspective, if they sold 24 cans in each store each day, which is not inconceivable, we're talking about a $3.25 million a month sales, or margin. So times 12, you're talking about a minimum of 24 cans per day. We're talking about a $35 million a year in sales. If anybody thinks that I have done all of this hard work and my team has worked this hard and we're not going for that, I'm not quite sure what they think. But absolutely trying to continue to brand and reach outward. Since yesterday, we came to the conclusion that Walmart individual store managers do have the ability to directly order the product and bring it in at any location. They don't need it to come from the top down. It can come in from the grocery manager, can go into the computer, order our product, we can ship it and get it merchandised. We pulled in 2 stores outside of South Carolina yesterday, and I pulled in one myself by making a 5-minute stop in my local Walmart this morning here in North Carolina. So I suspect that over the next 4 to 8 weeks, you're going to see groups of them come in 5 and 8 and 10. And, as we continue to work with the regional buyers to introduce ourselves and keep, spreading outward.
Wow. Along those same lines, I'm going to ask you a question. I don't even know if you can talk about it or not. Don't say anything where you're going to get in trouble. We don't want that to happen here at STT Radio. But just along the lines of Walmart stores, have you been in talks with any sorts of companies that are similar to Walmart, some of the larger retail chains like a Costco?
Yeah, I could easily tell you, and yes, for your point, the contract and agreement for Walmart is a Bible. It's lengthy, it's comprehensive. There are so many things in there that, if it wasn't Walmart, we may have actually taken for granted that we have the agreement. It's important for us. It's incredibly important for me and my family and my shareholders, this company, everybody that works here, that we don't do anything to offend or disappoint them. They've been extremely easy to work with on a regional level. So we don't want to mess anything up there. And there are certain things that even when it comes down to public releases, everything has to be vetted by the legal team there. If you put a press release out, everything has to be approved.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, we've reached out to, everybody. And we have dialogue with, and we've reached out to everybody. We have dialogue with 25% of the retailers in big box, probably in the whole country. And they're all at different levels. Some are scratching and thinking. We don't hear. I'm not sure. We used to hear this all the time. I'm not sure if there's really a category coming about out of this. That's one of the comments you used to hear. But you don't hear that anymore. Now you hear that they fired that guy and they have a new guy that's got a little bit more progressive thinking. And let's face it, everyone, there's $100 billion spent a year on products that help you relax, reduce stress, and sleep better. Is there really a question if a liquid beverage or a liquid product is going to not be embraced if it's tasty, effective, and cost-effective? It's not even a question. It's just a matter of getting the message out, telling your Walmarts, I want the drink, calling your Walgreens and saying, why don't you sell it? It's consumer pressure that creates demand on our side, and that's exactly what's happening every single day.
Well, yeah, I think you've done a pretty good job of proving that the product is successful in itself. At this point, it's just about expansion by word of mouth and otherwise some of your key marketing tactics that you've been using. And now that you guys have entered your the exponential growth phase as I like to call it, and you called it earlier on in the show. I'm very excited to see how quickly you guys start growing. Obviously the Walmart, a key piece of the puzzle here, and we will look for future updates related to commercials and other things within the Walmart stores. But you also have a lot of other stuff going on related to expansion overseas. I know you made a couple trips out to the Europe area shortly after we spoke with you last time, and you're also going out to Brussels to speak at a health conference pretty soon here. Can you just give us a brief update on your plans to expand into the Europe and Asia markets?
Sure. I'd also like to thank last Saturday, not this past Saturday, week before Saturday, our counterpart in Australia flew in, halfway around the world. We spent the day with him here in beautiful Lake Norman, North Carolina. We went out on a pontoon boat, and we spent about 8 hours, went to dinner. The Australian market is getting ready to go to production. We've had a lengthy and long process to get products through their regulatory commission there. They have a lot of different regulations than a lot of places, but we've come to a formulation on the supplement blend that will work, and that just literally got done about a week before he got here. So we're in a position now to go to production, and the Australian market, as they come into the warm weather of the year, timing will be fantastic. So he's going to, probably be full bore in the next 8 weeks, bringing product into Australia and offering the great brands to the Australian market. Yes, as you had mentioned, this will be my second speech at the Health and Beverages Congress in Brussels. That's next Wednesday. It's a tremendous, humbling experience to be invited to give a speech with some passion about innovative beverages, and that's the topic of my speech. It's a 30-minute speech. It's called Innovative Beverages. Innovation is, necessity breeds innovation. And basically going to go through the lineage of beverages starting in the 1800s with Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, and upward to the first major change in beverages with Gatorade coming to market for the first truly functional drink. And we'll go into real energy drinks and how they exploded in the market to over 1,000 brands with Red Bull, and then splitting off into your niche products, your 5-Hour Energy and your Monster brand, where they basically all grabbing with different method of madness, and then evolving over to our brand and the next revolution, which is relaxation. We're going to talk a little bit about the innovators, such as myself, what we risk, how many innovators are out there risking and mortgaging their homes and their personal time and their families to follow their dream. And for every one or two success stories, there are hundreds and hundreds of stories that didn't make it for any number of reasons. And I think it needs to be told that these people are out there, and I very well could have been one of them at some point. Fortunately for us, we've tried to answer all the questions that would come up before we actually were asked them. So that's part of my method. And then it'll go on to close out with the future, looking forward in innovative beverages. I think that in the future, in 20 years from now, you can buy a liquid aspirin. You'll be able to buy a beverage that does everything from regrow your hair to, anything. I truly believe that. Now, I don't know how big each market will be, but I know that at some point you'll be able to buy your beverages to help you with any number of physical changes. So that's really exciting for us and for me to be invited to such a forum.
Yeah, that'll be a great forum to not only give some educational advice about the health beverage market, but also just to market your company in general.
Sure. I mean, this is an opportunity to rub elbows with these people come from all over the world. To be recognized as a peer is I can't say that it was ever a dream come true, because I'm unfortunately maybe a little stubborn, but with stubborn is persistence. I've never thought that I would be the guy invited to give a speech, albeit I've been told that I can hold my own when it comes to something I have passion for. But to just be invited to speak, among people that are doing what we're doing around the world, and have people in the audience that come up to you afterward, as they did in London, that are, people that have had success stories of making 30, 40, 50, 100 millions of dollars that they're in beverages, is something good. It makes you feel good. I mean, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, regardless of what happens at certain levels, to know that you were among that group and recognized that for your efforts is certainly a fantastic feeling. And again, it coincides with what we're doing. Everything is growing. I'm growing as a human being. I was always a self-employed guy. I own my own contracting business most of my life, and always did things my way. And now I'm a softer, kind of gentler guy. I listen to more people that may have more experience in certain things. I still make the final decision, but I certainly listen to a lot more of outside input, and try to make the best decisions across the board for balance between what's best for the brands, what's best for the company, what's best for me, and what's best for the shareholders. At the end of the day, it's got to be that way, because that's the only way that I can sleep at night, to know that I've done the very best job that I can for all of the parties. It's not a one-sided, hook or by crook business. It's a long, tedious, timely project. And again, I can't say enough about my team and the support that I do get from my family and from the shareholders. I get a lot of messages from the friendlies that that know how hard it is and appreciate what we've done for our company here. And, it's going to keep growing that way. And as you mentioned, you led that question, we are expanding into Europe. I'll be meeting my one or two or three of our team of players, hopefully next week in Brussels. I have to really keep that on the down low right now, but I can tell you we're talking about, an all-star lineup of executives that are going to be working with us. They're going to launch and introduce our product from the very far east of China and India, Russia, all the way back to the European nations. These people are all tenured beverage people that have successfully done collectively over $1 billion in sales. And when I can formally bring this out, I'm incredibly humbled that I have the opportunity, that people share my vision. We've already met in person a couple times. It's there's no other way to explain it when someone is done their due diligence, what my mission is, what my product is, what the future looks like, and they're willing to stand in line with me and introduce it to another, multi-billion population. And again, our product is going to be in 40 countries in 24 months, and this team can get it done. So I'm humbled.
40 countries in 24 months. That is absolutely massive. And I want to make a comment on what you were just talking about there. Last time we had you on the show, you said you were working on a deal overseas that was 10 times bigger than anything you've ever done with this company. Is this related to that, these key meetings that you're going to have coming?
Of course. It's this leadership that I've been blessed with, having the blessing to again find someone it's similar in age. It's got 5 times the beverage experience that I have, and sees the potential for my product, for our product to be everything, to be the number one, to be the Red Bull of relaxation throughout Europe. I mean, and on top of that, this team has literally walked these trails before launching another product. And again, I want to keep it very tight to the lip. It's they've launched products in 60 countries and with tremendous success, and had over $1 billion in sales collectively. and they continue to. And they're, they want to. They've heard my story. They've heard the story of how I developed the Coma Unwind brand, how I came to, how I keep it simple, how they've just seen the business model, and they want to be part of it, because it's the next massive growth of beverages. And there may be a lot of other regional brands that are going to pop up here and there around different countries, but to be able to be in the United States, be in Mexico, be in Caribbean islands, to be in Australia, we'll probably be in Canada this year, and to be able to launch with a massive offensive in Europe. I mean, I don't see how many other brands are going to be able to do that. And it all really comes back to the team and the product and the commitment.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're the largest in the United States right now, and you guys seem to be basically the first major brand name in the relaxation market all over the world for the most part. So you guys definitely have a step ahead on the competition.
Well, it's all been a matter of telling the story. Rockstar came out with their Relax brand. They see something's going to happen. I'm not quite sure. It looks to me by packaging and flavor that they're marketing to the younger adults. And as Marley's Mellow Mood out there that, have had some great, products going out, launch. People love their product. And again, I think that we all need to be in this with us contenders. And it's really not a race to the top for me. It's really just getting my product in as many hands as I can. People that love it, buy it. I mean, if you go to the Amazon page, there's 55 of the most beautiful testimonials on there. And when I read those a few weeks ago, it just brings everything over the 3-4 years we've been peddling here. It brings it all to a point that we are changing people's lives, giving them an alternative method to relax and reduce stress and anxiety. And if we can keep doing that, make a living at it, and create some jobs, then we've done our job. And that's exactly why I got in beverages, and that's exactly why I'm going to keep doing what we do.
Wow. Absolutely phenomenal stuff going on here with BBDA. Let's change course a little bit and talk about some new products that you've mentioned that you have coming out, and hopefully in Q4 of this year, and also even beyond that point if you have other products in the works. Why don't you give us a little update on Retreat Cola and Coma Cola? Where are we at in that realm?
Well, good question, of course. Well, the Retreat, we just, as you can see on our Facebook, we just got our sample cans. We've developed it. The flavor is done. Basically, the product is ready to go to production. I just literally, I think Friday or Thursday of last week, signed off on the finished can. It's a time-consuming process. It's not that you run down to your local Target or Walmart and buy cans to make this. You have to develop the packaging. You've got to pick your colors, and then they make samples, and then they go to full, printing plates, and then you can make the cans for production. So we're probably as I said some time ago, we're probably if the production can do it, we're probably talking about the end of this month, 1st of October production. We've already got enormous amounts of feedback on people looking for the samples, looking for some orders. And very much like so many other distributors, they're going to want a pallet, 2 pallets, buy it. They choose around the edges, and then they gulp down the rest. But looks like it's going to be pretty successful. The functionality is going to be comparable to the original, and I'm hopeful that by the end of the month, 1st of October, we'll have it in here, and we'll have it available immediately on all the websites on the internet and available. It's only, I think, 55 calories. We came up with something that was, we don't call it diet or zero, of course, but it's certainly a reduced calorie product, unlike the regular beverages out there. And I have good feelings about it. It's part of our business model to, I'm a reader. I read about everything I can find about every successful brand, and I'm very much trying to copy what's been successful from others, shed off anything that wasn't successful from others and just try to build our model to do that. And, I think that comparatively, we're trying to simulate what they've done at Monster. They came out with their drink as an alternate to Red Bull because you could get more product that tastes better and at the same price. So when we came to market, we came to a simple package, the right price, tastes great, whether you're 8, 18, or 80, and have a variety of options available for people. Whatever their age, race, or creed, or anything, they can enjoy our product. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And that we have another flavor or two in the queue. And then, of course, we're going to have a complete overhaul of the package in the U.S. We're launching in Europe and Australia with the new designs of our cans. But we're going to probably next year in July do a repackage here in the United States. It's sort of basically an evolution of design in an effort to not have anybody think that our packaging has been a failure. It's more of a celebratory change and progressive move forward than anything but. Some people say, well, they changed the package. They must be getting a lot of feedback. It's not good. And that's just absolutely not the truth. It's been anything but we do seem to think we could make it even better. So we're reworking that. And, there's just, like I said, there's a lot going on. We'll probably by January, February have a third flavor profile for the original Coma Unwind. And then, we'll keep looking forward. Of course, we also have Black 5, which is the 2-ounce antithesis of 5-hour energy that's really taken off in a big way. And Coma Unwind shots and even the Potencia shots, everything is progressively growing, and some of it's been growing with literally no marketing or pushing on it. The necessity is there.
Wow, great stuff. Yeah, once you enter the exponential phase of growth, it makes the marketing on your end a little bit easier. Moving over from the business side of things to the actual stock side of things, shareholder side of things, you can imagine how many questions we have received related to some of the things you have going on with the company. I asked for private messages just on the iHub yesterday. And within about 10 minutes, I think I had about 25 private messages. So there are definitely some eyes on your company right now. First thing I want to cover is the stock buyback. Obviously, you've mentioned it several times. You've mentioned it in some of your shareholder updates recently. Why don't you give us a brief update on that, when that might begin, and how quickly you plan to buy back shares of the stock, and what sort of share targets you have? What's your end-term goal here with the share structure?
Well, that's a great question. This is a question where it's for me it's something that we get a lot of questions. Obviously, I get a lot of questions. I've always said it. That the concept of the OTC market that came about when they started this market, I absolutely love the idea of how it came about, sharing your vision with other people that have like vision, have them invest their hard-earned money into your vision and treat them fairly. And I think that unfortunately there's been so much of the other things going on in the OTCs for long that has become a standard that, that's not what happens in the OTC. So when you say, I'm going to do a buyback, people say, you're going to spend a lot of money. And I say, well, no kidding. But at the end of the day, that's why these markets exist. Not to roll over, spin out, become another company, and, the next day you're Fred's Mini Mart, That's just not the way it's supposed to be. And hopefully enough people over time will clean up a lot of the OTC stuff that goes on. There has to be a place for developmental companies to go to an open market to raise money. Again, I respect every dollar that we've raised. It's my own, and it is my own because I've put every dollar that I have raised in the last 10 years of my life into this company as well. So it all along. We needed to raise a certain amount. We're at a certain amount. We capped at a certain amount. I said we'd go to a plateau period where we would just let it sit there, and it's free market. People would buy, sell, and trade the stock as they see fit. The people that are the bashers and the haters are going to drive fear into those that are the lovers, and some lovers will disappear and sell out and move on, and some haters will win because they're going to get what they want. They're going to sell the stock at double their money and move forward. You know, at the end of the game, I suspect that I want to be between 800 million and a billion shares probably by mid-2014. That's where I would like to be. But it's not a direct path of going to go out to E-Trade and buy stock off the open market and let it continuously drive up, and up, and up, and up. Obviously, if my intention is to buy the stock, it's in my interest to buy it at the best price. So my thought is, and again, this is not set in steel or concrete. This is just an idea that I've actually been handed by several investors. I think that it's not inconceivable that in January next year, or probably over the Christmas New Year break, we're going to make an open invitation to those investors that are out there, that there are a number of, and have pretty deep positions in our company. And I'm going to say to them, this is what I think we should do. And I think that the company should buy back, a blank amount of stock. I'd like to narrow the investor pool down to, say, 30 or 40 or 50 people. And really what that means is there's going to be 40 investors instead of 400 or 4,000 or whatever's out there, because everybody will want to get out at some point. I mean, they double their money, they triple their money, they get retirement, their savings. Everybody has their own personal agenda. And I think what I would try to do is get it to where a group of 30, including the company, owns 70 to 80% of the free trading stock. And at that point, we'll start to evaluate buy it back collectively and work our way toward buying it down collectively. Because it's not conceivable that I'm going to have $30 or $40 million that fast to buy back that much stock in that period of time. But collectively, I want to bring in, a true group of investors that can and will stand in with us to, take this thing back down to a level of, again, it may be $1.5 billion in the first year, another $500 million into the second year. It may take 18 to 24 months, but at the end of the day, I don't think that we'll want to or be able to do it all on our own right off the bat. But I think that that's a solid plan to capture as much of it collectively and then decide how to move collectively back again. I don't propose to be a complete expert on it. I've gone to school on a lot of it, but I do know there are quite a number of people that have a lot of stock in the company and stock and faith in me and to do the right thing. And again, as I said, I've tried to do the right thing on every decision that we've made, and I'll continue to listen to those around me and blank out the ones that speak gibberish and that just don't make any sense at all. So.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting onto a very interesting topic, talking about that strategy a little bit. We talk a lot about float lockdowns and the penny markets, but this is a whole nother beast in itself when you're talking about something like that with BBDA and some large funds behind the scenes, large investors, especially now that you're in big talks with obviously some big names overseas. As well as within the U.S. But I don't want to get into much detail on that and your plans in that sense. But it sounds like you'll be starting that buyback at some point late 2012, early 2013, when your cash flows start increasing quite a bit. We've had a lot of questions related to general cash flows and whatnot. With such rapid expansion. And the actual size of the expansion that you guys are planning, entering into Walmart stores, you're traveling overseas to have some huge meetings to expand into, some of the largest countries in the world. And just the general topic of capital needs to be able to do that. Where's this capital going to come from? You know, I guess that's the end of my question. If you could just comment on that, where is all this capital going to come from? How much is it going to cost to expand so rapidly?
Well, you know, I mentioned a while ago that we do have a private investor that's pledged to, you know, put up enough backing into the multi-millions, and it's not a stock swap. It has nothing to do with stock. So it's you know, it's a big brother accounting, and on top of that, of course, we've doubled our size and volume cash already, doubled, you know, Q3 over Q2 without adding, you know, any people, any personnel. I mean, we've bought some trucks, but it was $1,000. So, you know, we've not even had our, you know, we're in a place now where we can run just as efficient and double our volume of the dollars without adding a lot of, you know, be getting more top heavy on our burn rate. Now we are doing more promotions, and you know, I've got an agency for that. It's outsourced, but you know, there's a lot of money in our product, and you know, we're not fighting for 8 or 10%. You know, we're in a margin that's more than 30%. So you know, it's a pleasure when you can make something and pay your bills and still make not a margin. That's, you know, that's the way it should be. You should be able to make money on your product and share them and grow. So here domestically, we really don't have any issues for production or anything else to keep up with it. Now, of course, if Walmart says, look, I want to go in all 4,000 stores tomorrow, there's going to be a logistical nightmare for us, but that doesn't mean that we can't, you know, pull up our sleeves. I've got some friends and colleagues that, as many people know, I have a lot of friends in the NASCAR business and ownership. And I do know quite a number of people that are always interested in making money. So it's a matter of getting creative and picking up the phone and saying, hey, I've got this, I need, and, you know, I haven't had to do that, but that doesn't mean I haven't thought about it. So I'm certainly always thinking about what will happen on that front. On the expansion to Europe, certainly need money. You know, we're incorporating in Bratislava in Slovakia because they're a very business-friendly country. That part is about done. The corporation, you know, we're going to put an account actually for the European company in Brussels. We're going to put a seed in there of you know, whatever we need, several $100,000 to you know, make sure that our team, they need for travel and expenses. But, you know, the launches in Europe, these companies are all going to be paid, you know, paying for the product before it gets there. So this is a pay up front or at least a letter of credit from the bank for all the product and so forth. So it's not like I have to make product 1 billion people and hope that I get paid in 30 or 45 days. It's a little bit different. It's more like we develop it, we land it, we get a letter of credit from the bank, from the buyer. We build it. As soon as it ships the dock to the United States, letter of credit goes into effect and get paid. So it's not as costly. Of course, it's getting bigger, and it will be bigger. It's not getting bigger at the expense of less margin. The margins are there, and we'll continue to work.
Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, it sounds like you have the connections to get it done without further dilution to the shareholders, is what you're saying for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's easier at this point to tap into the resources we have, and again, I've said that the blue would be capped at $2.4 billion, and you know, that's it. I mean, that's it. I know it's kind of crazy. You know, I've you know, it's just, you know, spend from 0.004, 5, 6, 1 cent, half a cent, almost 2 cents up I mean, it's all over the place. The shorts go in there, they beat the thing down, they gobble it up, they sell it, they walk away, they go on vacation, they come back, they put fear in these hardworking, lives that are, living in Iowa and Florida, but the people know that it's not me, because it's not who I am, and fortunately, we're gonna buy them out of making. At some point, it's not going to be worth it for the shorts to do what they do to our stock. It's just going to be, they're not going to want to play when it's quarter. They're not going to want to go in there and invest their money when it's 20, 25 cents, 18 cents, or even to the 5 and 6 cents. Little by little, the buy and holds are going to win this battle, because at the end of the day, we're going to be $100 million company. And those are the people that are going to be at the meetings with me, 30 or 40 of them, and they're going to say, where we're going now, Mr. Weber, and I'm going to say this is the next part of our plan. So at some point, that will happen, and little by little, it'll get done, and then again, the people stayed the course with me, and this journey will be the ones that relies on it. Buying back the shares is going to be part of that. We're not in a dividend environment. We're in a buy and a sell and a trade business, and it is what it is. So that's the path we've chosen.
Bottom line, you're going to be $100 million company. I think your shareholders would be pleased to hear that.
Well, trust me, I have a personal relationship with probably a dozen people that I allow to directly contact me. That some of them I don't agree with all the time. Some of them, you can tell by the caliber of their questions, their fears and their anxieties, and some of them think it's too good to be true. There are different things, but there are some of them that absolutely can see in my eyes and my voice what we're trying to accomplish. There's no ATM in my lobby. I mean, we all work here, and we have an open door policy. Anybody wants to visit, and we've had more visitors since our last call. People that are North Carolina investors have stopped by. I really wish they would make an appointment, because we're all pretty busy. But, we welcome anybody to come by. We're not going to sit out, open up our QuickBooks and say, okay, this is what we're doing. But you're surely welcome to tour our office, have a lunch with us, and look and see what we're doing. And what else can I do as a beverage CEO to be willing and able to embrace stuff that have helped us get here? I could, trust me, I know how hard it is to make a living, and I know how, I know that it's a choice when people press that buy button or buy stock in any company. They do it for several reasons. Some want to get in today and get out tomorrow and make $50. Some want to get in today and get out in 2 weeks and make $500. And some want to buy today and get out in 4 years and make $50,000. And I know a couple of them that made $30,000 and $40,000 since in the last 6 months.
Oh, I think there are some people who have made more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are, and I don't hold anybody. Hey, look, that's, again, we're not in a dividend market. We're in a market where people, see, and it's business curves. They grow at 8, 15, 20%, and if you're lucky and you work hard, then and your product becomes viral. I mean, if this product gets picked up and is on Good Morning America or any national media show, we're gonna, it's gonna be like shifting a gear in a high performance vehicle. It's just, those are the things that make this thing explode. The first time that Barbara Walters or Oprah say, "Wow, I should have had one of those drinks," off the cuff, those type of things were announcement that we're putting 140 more Walmarts together. These are the moments that drive us and take, a 20% growth. Who knows? I mean, we could have 500% growth, 3 phone calls, and that's what we're doing here. We just keep answering those phones, getting those calls, keep selling those drinks, keep listening to the consumers and trying to adjust and keep going. And it's getting to be a lot of fun. It's exhausting. I find myself exhausted on Monday mornings these days. It used to be Thursday and Friday. Now it's Monday. I'm already exhausted. But I can't. I'd be lying if I didn't say it was basketball.
Yep. Wow. Great. On the same topic, You guys are bringing in some big deals, starting to bring in some pretty decent money. Just looking at your last financial statement, talking about $1 million in revenues each quarter right now. Where do you see yourself, at the end of 2012, a year down the road, a couple years down the road, in terms of revenues? I know a couple years down the road is probably difficult to determine because, these deals pop up anywhere and everywhere for you right now. But let's just say, the end of the year here, end of 2012, early 2013, what are we going to be looking at in terms of revenues? Just wild guesses even.
I wish that I could actually give you an honest answer. I mean, I wish that I could, because
give me a range.
I asked myself the same question, but again, every single day, the phone rings. My VP Tiffany, she's like, I got this chain. We're working on the work. Stores do they have? 200. How many grocery stores? 300. I get off the phone last night, 10 o'clock at night. I'm probably up north. They have there are so many defining moments that are in the oven that it could go from 5 million, 7 million to 12 million to 14 million. There are so many of these single acts that could change our dynamics quickly. And again, obviously, I welcome them. I mean, that's what we're doing this for, to keep expanding our product. And but I'll tell you what, I'd say that in 36 months from now, 3 years from now, I would say that we'll probably do it at $40 to $50 million in 3 years from now in volume per year. I would be disappointed if we're not doing 40 to 50 million in sales in 3 more years from now. And that's based on where I see our product is going, how fast we're going into new chains. And it's what's happening is it's like a bungee cord. We stretched out for the first 18 months. People were like, what's this? Then we retracted a little bit. But in the last every 6 months, the interest in this type of product, not necessarily our product, but the relaxation revolution as a whole, has gotten to the point where it's more people know about it. More people, and it's perpetual motion. More people know about it. More people know about it, and it's growing more every month over the prior month. And fortunately, as in chess, we've been setting our position to try to capture, and we're in a great position. Again, we have a great product, great package, great business model, multiple flavors, highly profitable for the retailer, for the distributor, for everybody up and down the chain. Most of the product, everybody makes money on it. Those are all part of the project. So again, I'm not sure if it's going to be super heavy in 3 years and just continue to grow progressively, but I certainly believe that it's going to continue to double quarterly, or if it doesn't double, it's going to near double every quarter. Wow. Of course, the winter months may slow down a little bit.
Wow, it's quite amazing to think about, going from $1 million deals to, $2 million deals, $5 million deals, and hopefully the $10 million deals coming up in the near future here that you've mentioned so many times. Just fantastic.
Just with the owners of Arizona Iced Tea in New York a few months ago. Great guys, great office, great business model, great talk. Started out as a half an hour talk and blended. Took 2.5 hours by the time it was done. Great people. And I learned quite a bit in those couple hours. But what I learned also was their business, they sell more Arizona tea at Walgreens than they do at Walmart. And I said, well, how's that possible? He says, well, there's 8,000 Walgreens and there's 4,000 Walmarts. And in Walmart, there are, 12 brands of iced tea, but in Walgreens, there are 3. And I said, well, that makes a lot of sense. So, there it is. There's the layout. So, with our product being such a high demand for 30 to 50-year-old women, obviously it's in my best interest, in the company's best interest, to keep working on Walgreens and the Rite Aids of the world and the CVS pharmacies of the world. These places have become the suburbanite mini groceries. I mean, let's face it, You've got the rural areas going toward the mini groceries and the dollar stores, and you've got the suburban areas going to mini groceries and the Walgreens and the small pharmacy chains. So, you can imagine having 8,000 Walgreens or 5,000 CVSs, or those are the type of moves that when these managers finally get it and get the green light from upper management to let's give it a try. Those are game changers. And again, that game could change any minute. I urge shareholders and Facebook followers and friends, family, foe, everybody along the way, up and down. Tell your retailer, you want to make a change in people's lives, bring in a relaxation drink. They can make a lot of money selling it. They'll love it. And it's a return customer that they can guarantee, because when you're the only game in town selling it, everybody comes there to buy it.
Wow. Audited financials. Can shareholders expect to see those at any point in the future here?
Well, any point is relative. I think that's something that we'll discuss in that same lull period, December 1st of January. I plan on spending the Christmas week after Christmas, before New Year's, that week, kind of a little bit off the radar, catching up with some colleagues, that I haven't been able to, and really plot out the next quarter and 2 quarters and 3 quarters and the share buyback discussions with that. It's $50,000 of money that I see no purpose in spending it at this point. It's time consuming. I just don't see the point. I know that it's important to certain shareholders that it's there, but what's really important to us is that we keep selling drinks and taking that money and putting branding ambassadors in stores, increasing our sales. I don't want to say it well, it sounds smug, but it's $50,000. It's time I don't have, and it's something that I would much rather put and coincide with our strategy to buy back. Because if I do audit and the thing goes up and doubles in share value, then I have to buy it back at twice the amount. So that really makes no sense on a strategic position until I know exactly how we're going to do our buyback. I want to be fair to everyone, and I'm certainly not going to do anything to hurt my own company. But it's something that it's money that I don't want to spend on that until I really have laid out a template of how we're going to do our buyback and which shareholders are going to come to the table. And again, this has been something that came to us just via email. Hey, look, we own 100 million shares. We own 300 million. We have a group. When I put that press release out to all the shareholders and say, look, this is what we're doing. We're having a closed meeting with shareholders that want to attend to talk about buying back. At the same time, we'll have that conversation and put that part of our template on how we're going to do that and make our, take our stock and everything to a different level and determine, do we stay on the OTC? Do we try to get that QB done, which after further review, I'm not sure why anybody would do that for the cost versus the benefit. So we'll weigh all of that in the holiday break.
Wow. I'm just amazed just thinking about all these things that you've talked about today, let alone, what we talked about in our last interview and the size of the company that you are potentially putting together here. It's fantastic to think about, especially for a lot of us penny stock investors who are always searching for the next gem in the over-the-counter markets. We've covered tons of information today. I think we've updated the shareholders on most of the key questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we cut out for the day?
No, I just, I thank you guys a tremendous amount. I've tried very hard to do the best for everyone involved. I appreciate you guys having me on. I know that you have a very good audience, and I commend you on doing a great job. And our journey is far from over. We're not in the we're not even in the middle of the home stretch. We're not even in the first turn here. So it's a great place to be. Again, it's a great product. that's out there very, very prominently. We've got some new exciting projects coming on board with celebrities and athletes and people that get some attention. We've got just a tremendous amount of business growth. The fans and shareholders have been amazing. And again, I can't tell people to pick up the phone and call their local Walmart, but if you really want to be part of something amazing, it certainly won't hurt. We're being driven by consumers. Consumers are making it happen, and sometimes it's incremental. And you make the call today, and you're like, oh, that didn't do anything. But I promise you, there's so many of those calls we made 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago that they weren't forgotten. They're being discussed. I have CEOs from other beverage companies that are looking to come into our portfolio. That they're like, you've done an amazing job. Do you want to pick up our brands? I mean, there's so many of these type things happening, and it's happening because we've been all rowing in the same direction, and we have, fortunately, we've made a lot of great choices, and there have been some not so great choices, but we try to involve as many people in the overall journey here, and I think together as a group, and me learning how to listen more to certain things and certain people certainly propelled us into another level, and will continue to propel us into the bigger things.
Wow, great. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I don't want you to comment on it. I'm just going to say I think your revenue numbers are very conservative. I think you're going to hit the $50 million mark before you're saying. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'll call it a awesome.
As I said, 24 cans, 4,200 Walmarts, $3.5 million a month. That's $35 million a year in sales just with Walmart with 24 cans. I can tell you for a fact, every Walmart in South Carolina easily could sell 24 cans in a day. So in perspective, that's one chain. So add in 4 more chains, add in a Walgreens chain or a Target chain or a Kmart chain or a Menards chain and some more of those chains, 7-Eleven chain that's forked in. Yeah, big numbers. It could and should explode very quickly, and that's where consumers and celebrity endorsements and all those things. Some of those things are extremely costly. And, if I started with $5 million, I probably would have easily pissed away 2.5 making mistakes. But I can tell you, if we had $4 or $5 million now, I know exactly where I would pinpoint some of that big money. And if I'm not going to risk it all what I have because I'm counting on the expansion. But if I had the money to just drop into major marketing projects, I know where I would do it now, and it would take us to accelerate everything. But we'll keep doing it this way. Organics works for us. Consumers are involved. Shareholders involved. Pick up the phone or go online, go to our BeBevCo.com or info@BeBevCo. Get your sample pack. Try our products and share them with your friends and family, and you can easily say, wow, that stuff's really good. There's a very, very, very low margin of people that are unsatisfied. So we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And, I've worked at it this long. I'm sure that whether it takes, 24 months or 34 months, we're going to keep pedaling and keep getting there. So we'll do that, keep adding jobs and keep adding smiles and restful nights of sleep.
Well, we at STT Radio, as well as all of our loyal listeners here following BBDA, look forward to see what this company has coming down the line in the near future here, as well as the long term. We'd like to thank Mr. Brian Weber once again for joining us here at STT Radio. And as always, you are welcome on the show anytime you want to come on. So thank you for joining us here today.
Well, thank you for having me again. And I really do have to get back to work. I've good practice, though, for my speech to be winded a little bit. But you guys take care, and let's talk again maybe right after Thanksgiving. We'll do a pre-holiday roundup and talk about what's happened in that period of time.
Oh, that sounds great.
All right, guys. Take care now. Thank you.
Take care, Mr. Weber. Wow, guys. Zumo, you with me, man?
Incredible.
This is just a beast of a company. It really is. Talking about a penny stock bringing in 50 million revenues within a couple of years. It's just unheard of. As well as the stock buyback and all the other things they have going on, but just some great stuff. But he is a little long-winded. He's a great speaker. He definitely knows where he's going with this company. Definitely on the up and up.
That's one of my more favorite speakers to have on our show. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, I think we went long on the first interview as well. So he's got lots of stuff to talk about. The company's going in so many different directions.
The great thing is he had some great things to talk about, and as long as he spoke, I didn't find any of it boring at all. It was all very, very good stuff.
It's a really sexy story, and shareholders can attach to it. All right, well, why don't we call it a show here? Great BBDA CEO interview here this morning. Make sure you tune in tonight. We have a DD Amanda special coming at 8 p.m. Eastern. So without further ado, you guys all have a great trading day, and thanks for tuning in this morning. We'll have the cut final interview out as soon as we can here.
Oh, aloha. Thanks for coming, and
thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk, and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.